Hello and welcome to my channel. Hope you're having a great time. Now, let's be honest, we all make mistakes. Furthermore, we all make dumb mistakes. And yet, how many times while reading a book or watching a TV have you feel frustrated by the actions taken by the characters because I have lost count? However, believe it or not, it makes sense for characters to make dumb mistakes, even when they are portrayed as being smart. Because at the end of the day, decisions are not always taken in ways of intelligence. After all, if characters acted with ironclad logic and reason all the time, it could be widely unrealistic, and even worse, it would be boring. As I pointed out earlier, it can be frustrating, but we, as an audience, need to recognize two things. First, we are judging them from a comfortable position. Secondly, and perhaps more important, to see the talent on the writers who created these characters and their stories. And so, I have taken upon myself the challenge of presenting to you instances where characters made mistakes, but there are three rules I have set for myself to follow. First, the characters I mention here need to have a high level of intelligence, not necessarily the smartest ones in the world, but definitely smart. Second, their mistakes need to fit with their personality, or at least the personality at that particular point in the story. Third, I will use it to showcase the brilliance of the authors behind it all, proving that the scene actually works. Of course, those three rules cannot be applied to every moment when a smart character makes a dumb mistake. So the point I have to make across this video is, as angry as those scenes make us feel, sometimes they need to be there, and only great writers are capable of successfully create that kind of scenes. Sometimes they work for plot reasons, and other times for character reasons, and in some cases both. One more thing, this is my own interpretation for the characters and the scenes they are in, but that's enough ramble. Let's start with the prideful prince of all science, Vegeta. And the scene I will choose is his fight against Frieza in Namek. More specifically, the beginning where Vegeta encourages Frieza to transform, despite the fact that he had almost no chance of winning, while Frieza still was on his first form. So simply suggesting Frieza to transform is ridiculous. Now, the thing has been said, let's follow the rules. First, is Vegeta smart? Well, he's the one who thought of using the Genki Dama to defeat Kid Buu. He successfully bluffed number 20 after 19 drained a great deal of his energy, and the way he stole the Dragon Balls from Frieza's chip earlier on the saga was just brilliant. So I dare to say Vegeta is quite smart. Thus, asking Frieza to transform fits with Vegeta's personality. Vegeta actually follows a thread here. After proving he can also become a Super Saiyan, he trashes Android 19 with ease, so he believes himself capable of defeating all other androids on his own. And well... After training intensely for a whole day on the hyperbolic time chamber, he reaches a new level, and he punishes Cell on his second form, and so he lets him absorb 18, because there was no way Cell could become stronger than him, and well... He trains for 7 years on a gravity chamber with 400 times the gravity, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was higher. When the time to fight comes, he finds Babidi is meant to be less than a joke. So in his mind, Majin Buu could not possibly be that strong. And well... It's a well-known fact that Vegeta is often blinded by his pride, and every time he gets stronger, he is overconfident and believes that no one could actually defeat him. And in the case of his fight against Frieza, earlier before it started, he got a power-up, or as it's popularly known, a Zenkai boost, that allowed him to surpass the Ginyu Force, who at the time were a force to be reckoned with. So yes, that was clearly a Vegeta thing to do. Finally, does this thing work? Well, the answer lies within another question. Will Frieza have transformed without Vegeta suggesting it? And honestly, I don't think he would. And the reason is, later on while fighting Piccolo, Frieza did not transform into his third form until he could not defeat Piccolo without transforming. Therefore, what I think will happen is, since likely Frieza will not transform, when Piccolo arrives, he will destroy Frieza as if he were nothing. After all, the power difference was huge, and with Piccolo defeating Frieza, there would be no Super Saiyan, and the ending of that saga would have been terrible. But you could argue that Frieza will transform even if Vegeta hadn't said a thing. So from a writing point, at plot perspective, it was not necessary for Vegeta to make that mistake. However, from a character perspective, it works. Not only because it fits his personality, but because Vegeta is an active character. So removing the line where he requests Frieza to transform will remove the agency he provides to the story. Next, the lucky duelist Joy Wheeler. And the scene I want to talk about is when he falls for a trap set by Weevil Underwood so he could insert a parasite card into his deck. Okay, so in this scene, a kid who is working for Weevil pretends to be a fan of Joy, and as part of the act, he asks Joy if he could wear his dual disc. He agrees to the request. Here the kid runs away, stealing his dual disc with his deck in it. Joy naturally catches him up. The kid returns Joy's stuff and apologizes, but it was all part of the rules, as his real goal was to insert the parasite card into his deck, following Weevil's instructions, giving him an unfair advantage on the upcoming duel. Now, is Joy smart? Let's see. At Duelist Kingdom, he won almost every duel in a game he only learned to play a few days ago. More than that, some of his duels suggested he was still learning, and the only one able to defeat Joy was Yugi, the protagonist, who, as we all know, has a plot armor made of adamantium. Okay, there is also the duel with Kaiba, but come on, it's Kaiba. Later, at Battle City, he defeated opponents who were cheating while he was still playing by the rules. But more impressive than that, from all the duelists who fought against Marik on steroids, Joy was the only one who could have defeated him. He only lost because of magic stuff, but from a game perspective, Joy won that duel. And there are more examples that prove Joy is one of the smartest guys around, but I will stop here. Next, does it fit the character? Unlike with Vegeta, Joy doesn't follow a thread regarding his mistake, or at least none that I could see, but I still think that mistake fits with his persona. Here is why. On more than one occasion, Joy expressed his desire to be a professional duelist, and of course, he wants to be recognized as one of the best. Sadly, he's often dismissed and not taken seriously, so when that kid claimed to admire Joy as a duelist, he could not help but to fall victim of his own hype. Now, does this scene work? From a plot perspective, honestly, I don't think so. It really didn't help advancing the plot, but from a character perspective, it made wonders, as it was the perfect setting to show Joy's improvement as a duelist by defeating Weevil, who not only kept on going with his dirty ways, but also had a better deck than the one he used back in Duelist Kingdom. It is shown to us how much better of a duelist Joy is now compared to the previous arc, so yes, the scene does work, even if it's not for plot reasons and only character reasons. Time for our final scene, carried by the flesh-eating Fae Ethany. I have talked about Ethany on a previous video, talking about awesome characters. Please do check it out. Ethany is a dark fantasy, written by the author N. Malone, and I will be leaving the link to the book in the description so you can check it out. I do not want to spoil a thing, but unfortunately, I do not have much of an option, so if you have already read it or you don't mind spoilers, keep on watching. Otherwise, I recommend you to go and read it and then come back. Don't worry, I will be waiting for you. Now to the scene. It had been some time since Ethany had a meal. Now starving, she went on the hunt. After taking down a unfortunate soul, Ethany had finally something to eat. This is when the leash showed up. Ethany knew he was She analyzed the situation. Physically speaking, at that moment she wasn't at her best. Plus, it was impossible to know how strong the leash actually was, so fighting would have been unwise. She then decided to sacrifice her kill in an attempt to escape, but before Ethany could get away, the leash threw a golden thingy into the air. She stood there, fascinated. Instead of going away as far and fast as possible, she stood there. Why, Ethany?
Why did you just stand there?
It was the last thing you'd expect.
And so, the golden thing turned to be an unbreakable golden chain that captured her. Now, time to see if this scene followed the three rules. Is Ethany smart? Ironically enough, the scene itself offers us the evidence. We see her analyzing the situation with logic. Achin came with a plan to escape right on the spot, and it was a good plan too. Just, well, you know what happened. Earlier before her encounter with the leash, as I mentioned, she was on the hunt, and while reading, we see how she cleverly chooses the right prey and the right time to strike. If you require more proof of her intelligence, check out my video on awesome characters. Does the scene fit with the character? If it was not obvious enough, I will point it out that the mistake Ethany made came from a place of curiosity, as instead of getting away, she stays there fascinated by the golden thing. Time later, she meets an armored man whose eyes color were like liquid gold, with almost radiant warmth, fact that captivated her. His armor, unlike many others, was not made by iron, but by silver alloy. Ethany shows her curiosity towards this alternative metal option for armors. Actually, she shows all sorts of curiosity from the armored man. And upon meeting more characters, she consistently reacts with a high level of fascination, always eager to know more. One thing we learned earlier on the story is that leeches once were human who, making a deal with mystical creatures to get magic, get transformed into a leech. While later, Ethany asks her captor, why did you turn yourself into a leech? And this wasn't a case of understand your enemy. No, she genuinely wanted to know. So yes, I can firmly say that the scene, wait a second, she is a hunter, she's smart, curiosity was her downfall. I just realized Ethany is a cat. No wonder I like her so much. Does the scene work? From a plot perspective, yes. The story cannot work if the leech doesn't capture Ethany. Sure, he could have captured her in a different fashion, without her making that or any mistake for that matter. But that take away from Ethany as a character. Speaking of which, the scene also works from a character perspective, yes, as it gives us what we need to know from Ethany and to a lesser degree the Leech as characters. Of course, we keep on learning about them as the story progresses, but that initial interaction, as much as it was, tells us much. And that, in my opinion, is high-level writing talent. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe. I would love to know your thoughts, so feel free to share them on the comment section. Check out my book, The Project Sare. In there, mistakes are made, but could the same rules be applied? Read it and judge by yourself. Also, take a look at my store, where you can find variety of products with a big number of designs. And if you require a specific design, I am more than happy to make something for you. Follow me on my socials and get your copy of Ethany and links down below. Bye bye!